Good morning, good evening, good night. I always say that it depends on where you're listening from, where you're watching from. We understand the time zone. Okay. I I have a very important guest today. But before I tell you who that my guest is, I'm gonna tell you about the situation that we'll be talking about uh, on this episode. You remember Donique Anderson, a Jamaican police officer. She's a 26 years old officer. She's very young, but she's having a challenge. There's a bit of complication with her liver. I might say a bit, maybe, this may be an understatement, because she really needs some assistance. She was here in the United States and was sent home because of, I heard, it's because of financial challenges. She need at least $1 million. I read somewhere, and I'm not sure how much it is really, but it's a lot of money that she needs to stay alive. I spoke with her mother on Can Youth Exploration, your topic in the podcast, this medium, not too long ago, and her mother told us that the doctors are saying if she doesn't get some attention soon, the transplant that she needs, and she may die. We don't want that. We don't want that. And we want to help Donique Anderson. And I'm going to let my guest in. He has been very supportive in this campaign to help our sister. And he will tell us more about some of the concerns he is having, and, how we can best help Danny through his organization, through him, because he's very supportive. I'm going to let you, Dr. Rupert Francis, into the studio. Dr. Francis, how are you doing?
Not as good as you, Dr. Kenwood.
Yeah.
We are both good. Let's put it up. Thank God for
Right.
smallness right here. Yes, thank you.
All right, nice. And we're both in the United States audience, and we want to help our sister Danny.
Absolutely.
Rupert, I'd like to find out first of all, who are you? Just tell the audience who you are professionally.
Well, my background is very simple. I'm a retired army officer. Was in the JDF for quite a number of years. After the JDF, I tried out surprisingly in politics for a while, and then I decided that I would have to, because I couldn't find work in Jamaica. I had to go to the somewhere else, and I came to the United States, and I decided to go into education because there were very few options at the time, and I did that, and I became a professor at a number of colleges, and earned a PhD doing that. And as a result of that, I've been working with the diaspora,
Okay.
working on the diaspora as a member of the western section of the country in
Yeah.
California. And I've been able to assist in the process of helping the nation from this side.
Okay.
I have we developed what is called the Crime Task Force, the Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. Our basic focus was on the children of Jamaica, crime in Jamaica. How do we resolve it? How do we cap it? How do we deal with it in the upcoming years? So that is what I also have been involved in a lot of uh, areas in Jamaica that are dealing with not only children but other troubled areas, and to try to build up the self-esteem of the youth. I myself came from Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and my journey through what I just told you was only because of it took a village to raise a child,
Yeah.
and that is why I believe that having had the benefit of people who were not necessarily my my blood relatives help me, I believe and I know that Jamaicans out there, young people in particular,
Yeah.
and that anybody can go through that process and really help themselves and help the Jamaica in turn. So I've been doing this for the past 30 years. I was on the advisory board of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade for quite some time, and I have held various capacities in the United States, president of the Jamaica Men of Florida, I also was in Najaso as its and I've also done a lot of other philanthropic work throughout, not only
Oh,
Jamaica, but we have chapters of the task force in England, in Canada,
oh.
and the USA. I think I should stop. I'm also a radio talk show host right now.
Yeah, I know. You see, Dr. Francis is wearing so many hats, right? I mean, he's a Jamaican who he talked about being a philanthropist. It's something that we want to go into as we talk about the Donique Anderson story.
Yes,
But
yes.
Dr. Francis has been a rare hope for the Jamaican in Jamaica and even those of us in the diaspora. But Dr. Francis, I note that Danique was here in the United States and she was sent back to Jamaica. According to report, that the procedure, I might not want to say procedure, but the attempt to get a transplant, a liver transplant, had failed. But my thing, how have you helped her while she was here? I heard that you were a great support to Danique and her family while she was here. Talk to us
Well,
about that.
thank you, Doc. I want to say this that the next situation is both a tragedy and a blessing at the same time. Why do I say that? I had no intention. In fact, I was onto a number of other things when I was called and told that they had arrived in New Jersey. And I said, they who? And they needed to get some transportation from the airport to AFK to New Jersey. I called upon a couple of friends of mine, and then they told me no, they had found someone, and they took them to a hotel, and they told me what the situation was. I did that was the first time 2.5 months ago that I learned of the situation. When I learned of the situation, I was given some information about it. I said, "Oh my God, this is a young woman who has signed up to serve and protect her country, as I did when I was about, let me see, 17, 18 years old. And for there, but for the grace of God goes I. I mean, I could be in her position. She had no sickness before, and yet this young lady persevered and became and ended up being at the top of her class
Yeah.
during the time that she is still a female officer, and she persevered. Yet, but she was sick. She had this autoimmune disease. Nobody knows where it came from, and it started to attack her liver and her vital organs. And she's been going through this for quite some time, almost a year and a half, from what I've understood. So the question is, she was sent there to see someone in Bethlehem Hospital, I think it was, and it was not to be. The person did not answer the phone calls. There were
Okay.
not, there's what nothing, and I said, no way, this is not going to happen. So I told her, I contacted a friend of mine who is Claudette Powell, who is the head of the crime task force, and I contacted Dr. Clark, Robert Clark. I said, how can we? And they told me how to, she was sent to an emergency room, and they started the procedure there nearby in order to reduce her because she was confused. And she was, this is a bright girl who is not normally confused, and she had to go in there right away for them to do something. And then they didn't have the report from the University of West Indies Hospital, which we were able to secure and got to get that and look at it. And when Dr. Clark read it, he said, "Look, man, this is something that should have been dealt with a long time ago, and the
Yeah.
way it is being dealt with now is not the correct way. Let's see if we can get it on track." So
Yeah.
we decided to help them to get it on track, and so that was how it began. And the fact of the matter is that she was sent there by the JCF in some way. Yet we have had very little response from the JCF, including the commissioner himself. I was told it was being sent to the commissioner and indeed the Minister of National Security, but that was not to be. We have not had any, what shall I say, response really from that angle. So we've had to do it on our own. So
Yeah.
you asked me a question. Let me just tie it up with saying,
Yeah, that's all
having
right.
okay, having said all that, we decided to act on our own, and we decided they was paying a huge sum of money per week to stay by the hospital. That is the mother, and she in the
Yeah.
hospital she couldn't stay there, and
Mhm.
so we decided to co-opt local help, and we reached out to some ex-JDF soldiers,
Mhm.
one Staff Sergeant Grant and Fullerton ex-002,
Yeah.
and they put her up for free in New Jersey for the past month and a half
Mhm.
to 2 months. So that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
And of course, other things have happened since then.
Right.
Yes.
You said we. We meaning who?
My colleagues and I were in the army together,
Okay.
intake 33 and all that sort of
Oh,
thing.
cool.
They were there and they were able to assist in every, putting her up, feeding her, etc., etc. And they really became like family to her. And I'm
Wow.
telling you, it brought tears to my eyes, honestly, when I saw these men who were out, taking her over and insisting that she
Yeah.
got the very best care possible. I didn't know that was necessary, but I mean that was possible. But trust me,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
became it was very very impactful on me. Yes,
I love that. Dr. Francis, I heard the I want to say emotion,
yes,
the passion
yes,
in your voice.
yes.
It tells me that you have some concerns. What are
Uh,
some of the concerns that you have? Being oh, this thing is being angered, or what you think might happen if it's not angered properly? What are some of your concerns?
First of all, let me say this: I lost a daughter at almost the same age, and I've carried her with me for the past 20 plus years.
Ambulance.
And I promised myself that would never happen in my to anyone in my lifetime again.
Mhm.
And so that is why I took on this. I put everything aside and decided to work on Donique and her mom. And they've been tremendous people. I believe that somebody dropped the balls. People have dropped the ball. They didn't understand. They didn't know what to do, and they didn't reach out to anybody. Eventually, somebody did reach out to me and ask me to do them a favor, and I did. To be quite honest with you, but I do not think that if this thing to have happened to a soldier, it would have gone this way. But
Yeah.
in the police force, they have no support and what have you. And really and truly, we are all judged by how we treat the least of us. So I'm not trying to cast blame or anything, but I'm saying to you, there is something wrong when we allow they're almost turned like they're turning their back on this young lady at this moment in time. Which of the high ranking they know this is happening? Which have made a remark or a comment of only one, and to say they'll get back and they didn't get back. But which of them have taken? And that to me hurts. It hurts me to my core. It was not until we went to the Consul General of New York that we had some semblance of movement, and she was able to come in, step in, and use her influence to get her into what is called the Harlem Hospital, which is headed by a wonderful Jamaican doctor, and he was Dr. Maurice Wright, and they were able to work their magic and keep her on and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, she was told that there is no, literally told that there was no hope. Not because because tests were done and listen. We said then at that point, no, we're not going to accept that. We need a second opinion. Not that we don't. They did a marvelous job. They did a tremendous
Wow.
job, by the way. Let me just absolutely clear that up. They did a tremendous job and they treated her wonderfully. We met some wonderful people there because I absolutely went there and visited her. I took time out of my schedule and went there, and I ended up. By the way, let me just make it clear. During
Yeah.
the storms that you're hearing, I was in that what you call it airport for 5 days.
Mm.
Could not get back home as a result of that. And I was accompanied by my daughter. So I took evidence to show, and I have pictures to show that I was there with her and the mother, and so on, and empathized with her because I realized that they were alone,
Yeah.
personally. So I kind of took them on as my family, and not only that, other persons too. I'm not alone in this. Claudette Powell, as I said before, the head of the Dr. Clark, Herbert Nelson, all of those persons, and many, many more have come on board and to form a coalition to assist this young lady. And we have found now, as a result of that, other alternatives maybe closer to her that we could impact. And that's where the money thing. We're not sure about the money part. There's a GoFundMe right now, but that GoFundMe is not only for personal, like to keep her, but this one
Okay.
would have once we decide, once Dr. Clark evaluates and his team evaluates the medical aspect, we can now see which race would accept her and transplant, after that. It's transplant can only happen based upon my knowledge and what I've been told after they have assessed how she will perform and then they can put her on a list. But
Yeah.
the good news is that we might have her match in Jamaica, and she was
Oh.
offered. Yes, yes. A lot of people not talking about that. There's no effort. You see, the people in Jamaica have to bear those persons who are the force, the police force, and the Ministry of National must bear what you would call it, responsibility. Because if
Yeah.
I, as a retired officer, had that on my portfolio, I would have made sure that things were in order. Because I know for a fact that if any senior government official or any person in parliament or their member of family gets hurt, they would be on a plane, shuffled and chauffeured right to wherever in the world they wanted, free of cost. And so, why not for an officer, a young officer like Donique, who came to serve the country, especially in these times? I think
Yeah.
that if that's the way they're going to treat her, I'm offended by that. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Dr. Rupert Francis, I heard your concern. You're listening to Ken Youth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I am Dr. Ken Youth White. I'm talking to Dr. Rupert Francis. We're talking about the 26-year-old policewoman, Jamaican policewoman, who needs your assistance, right? And she has been living with a liver complication that may take her life, but we're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow that. So we are fighting to get some assistance for her to ensure that she lives and live to serve us because she's a servant of our country, Jamaica. We are reaching out from the United States.
Doc.
All right.
When I
Mhm.
spoke to her and I said to her, "Listen, you have to tell the world your story."
Yeah.
He says, let me tell you something. When I signed up, we're in an organization
Mhm.
that, prides or privacy and so on and so forth. And it's
Yeah.
not up to me to speak out about the organization. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
what is called the blue line of silence in the U.S. Police Force. And
Yeah.
yes, she would not speak out, and that's amazing. And for that, she had my respect,
Yeah.
because to be quite honest with you, I'm not speaking and calling any names. I could, but the
Yeah.
fact that but I'm just saying the circumstances demand that we hold our people accountable. That's why we
Yeah.
are paying our officials to be where they are, so that
Yeah.
they can do the right thing for our population.
Mhm.
If we were in an emergency, for example, a hurricane, a storm, any type of deluge, they would be on it, right? Or should
Yeah.
be, or preparing for it. Well, you should be preparing for it. I do believe that there should be a welfare situation for ex-policemen as it pertains in the army.
Mhm.
And where you can go in there. They don't even have a situation. You know what is cool about all of this, by the way?
Yeah.
Dr. Robert Clark offered his
Mhm.
entire organization. Let me give you the background on this guy. This
Yeah.
guy is from Trenchtown, right?
Mhm.
So, he's a inner city man, and he's become who he is, a senior medical officer, right? And
Right.
he has a thing called Help Jamaica Mission, which goes to Jamaica several times a year and help people for free,
Mhm.
right? And he's willing to put up his 501c3 to back this whole business of
Yeah.
supporting Donique Anderson, to her way to for hope for Donique, right?
Mhm.
Now, if he can do that of his own volition,
Yeah.
right, and time and effort, why can't we the entire back him in order to get this thing done? You see my
Yeah.
point? And
Yeah.
that to me, makes it very, very hurtful and very personal to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that, Dr. Francis. I'm talking to Dr. Rupert Francis, a member of the Jamaican Diaspora here in the United States. I am Dr. Ken White, and you're listening, watching Ken Exploration, your topic in the podcast. Dr. Francis, expectations. What are your
Well,
expectations?
well, I'm a very hopeful person. I believe in a supreme power, as most of us do,
Mhm.
and I do believe that where there's hope, where there's life, there's hope.
Mhm.
And I always believe in the best among human beings. And I'm asking all those persons to forget the information about her, get
Mhm.
the information about Dr. Clark's organization.
Mhm.
If you have any idea of how you can help worldwide, please let us give her that hope. She's 26 years old.
Mhm.
26 years old. And she is a beacon. Let me tell you something. One of the brightest persons I've come across.
Yeah.
Right now, when I'm on the phone and I have any issues on the phone,
Mhm.
with her, she can fix it right
Mhm.
there, even though she's not well.
Yeah.
And I'm saying if she can be doing that, my expectation is, or my hopes, dreams, and aspirations are that she will be among us and be with us to
Yeah.
share her experience with the entire not only Jamaican population, but with the world.
Yeah.
I have seen people step up even in the hospital that she was in, Harlem Hospital, and step up and to say, listen, we're helping her because she deserves it. I myself grew up as a sick child. We can get through
Yeah.
this. And that's where I get the strength from. And I'm asking everybody else to get their strength from it and work. You can see she's fighting, and let us help her fight together. Please reach
Yeah.
out to me at any time. I can give my telephone number. It's very, very easy. It's 909-994-0, or my business line, which is 561-809-0855, or on SuperJams Radio. I'm sure you can send in a note and I will get it. Dr. Can let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's how we have to, as a people, just remember people. Remember to love people. And remember, love thy neighbor. Understand? Some people take it as a joke. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
Right? It will be a better place.
Yeah.
And our
Dr.
society is Let's go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Our people like that. They're very clannish. But what we need to do now is to leave the stripes behind, leave the this behind, and just understand that this is a human being. But not only on this occasion, I urge every Jamaican to understand that they must support the diaspora, because it's through the diaspora as a people and Jamaica together we can bring her, we can work, we can help our country to be what it should be. Look at our country, all the accomplishments that we have had. And people have the gall to talk about we do not love Jamaica. Come on, give me a break. Has anybody listening to me think I don't love Jamaica? I love Jamaica and life itself. I am Jamaica. You are Jamaica. Anybody who's watching this is Jamaica. Or even friends of Jamaica are Jamaica. Because everywhere you go in the world, somebody has heard the name Jamaica.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Name none. So therefore, why are we shortchanging ourselves? Why are we listening to people who want to divide us and rule us rather than listening to ourselves and our own consciences? We are great people, great runners. We made rum. We made reggae. Shall I continue? We made what? There is nothing at all we can't do. Nothing. If we decide that we're not going to be enslaved by our minds, as Marcus Garvey told us, and Bob Marley, we must derive ourselves from mental slavery. That's what we must do.
Yeah, Dr. Francis, I want you to give us again those numbers to contact you.
My telephone number is 909-994-2490. I repeat, 909-994-2490, and 561-809-0855.
Is there an email?
Beg pardon?
Is there an email?
Yes, I have an email I have two emails. One is diaspora, D as in dog, I as in India, A as in apple, S as in Sam, P as in papaya, O as in Oscar, R as in Romeo, A as in apple, J as in Jamaica, all lowercase, 7@gmail.com. So it's diaspora j7@gmail.com. And if you don't remember that, the other one is very easy. It's captfrancis@yahoo.com. CAPT. Just tell me who you are. Tell me what you're calling about, because I have thousands of emails and things coming through on a day-to-day basis. So if you tell me exactly this is about Donique, or it's about whatever it is, or it's a question, I will then do it. Then you can go on WhatsApp and you can join me on WhatsApp. I have a very big platform there. I'm also on Facebook. We have the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force on Facebook. I also have a fan page which is called Dr. Rupert A. Francis, and you'll see me on the radio station SuperJams. And you also have Rupert A. Francis from Ocho Rios. I'm from Ocho Rios. I'm very proud of that. I'm from Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and I love it. And I was born there. I'm a born Jamaican. I always say, I'm a Jamaican born and bred, and I'll be a Jamaican even when I dead. So as far as I'm concerned, that's my motto and my mantra. And I want everybody to understand that there are a lot of people out there, they're spin doctors, and they're going to tell you this, they're going to tell you that, and so on. But let me tell you something. In the task force, we have great people. We have Wilfred Rattigan. We have Herb Nelson. Everybody has heard from Wilfred, from Waterhouse, right? You
Yeah.
have Herb Nelson. You have a lot of, you have Dr. Clark. You have a lot of people who are well known out there. You know, Donovan Long, everybody that are part of this task force that are helping people. Bill Tinglin, helping people every day. But it's just that we have not tried to get in your face. We are just trying to say, listen to me. We have crime is not just, it's a phenomenon. But just as though it's a phenomenon, it was created, we can not necessarily eradicate it, but we can reduce it. And we're not trying to, we just say to focus on our children. Listen, Dr. Canute,
Yeah.
when you have children who are scamming to go to school, that is a serious problem you're having.
Yeah.
Serious problem.
Yeah.
We must, the children are our future. And our future cannot be scamming. It cannot be murder. I heard a man say to another one, I'm going to do a, what's that famous dead place called, what do you call it? Funeral park. What's it called? Dovecote.
Okay.
I'm going to do a dovecote today. That means going to kill somebody. Can you imagine? That's the language.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying to you, but you have a Donique now. Look at Donique. She says, no. I am not going to go down that path. I am going to make sure I join and see how I can help. Okay? Look at her in her head. She was the top cop, the top youngster graduating. Right? And there you are. There is the Minister of National Security. And come on, Mr. Minister. Why have she not heard from you since? Why have you not personally said, please help Donique Anderson? Why? You tell me, Mr. Minister. That is what I would like to ask. There is the commissioner. Absolutely. And the thing, you are going to tell me, Mr. Commissioner, you don't remember that day and that young lady? Do you think she needs to die in abandonment somewhere, Mr. Commissioner? I don't think so. We are all human beings, sir, and she should be our child. She could be your daughter. In fact, she has your last name, Mr. Commissioner. Her name is Anderson. And I won't say the rest of what I was going to say because it might be a little bit disingenuous.
That's Dr. Rupert Francis. Hey, Doc, I have one final question for you, though. What next in the campaign for Donique? What next from your end?
Well, once we get the feedback from the population about possibilities, there are people listening, I'm sure, who might have ideas about this. How to attack this autoimmune disease and so on, how to keep her going, and how do we get the liver transplant. Well, I'm going to say something which might sound dark and ominous, but Jamaica has a lot of candidates for liver transplant. When we can get it from there to thing, or we get it, sad, but it is true. Just think about it. And so if we can find a way to get it to the place, then we don't have to put her on no list. She might be able to get no, the body can reject it, whatever. But we have experts throughout the world. Reach out to your cousin, reach out to your auntie, reach out to and then get to us. And our caption is Hope for Donique. That's the name. Hope for Donique. And you reach out to Hope for Donique. We'll soon provide you, sir, with a complete information about Hope for Donique, right on that poster, so you can get onto to me, and we can say, well, okay, fine, this is where we're going. We have where our headquarters is and what we can do. So once we do that, then we'll be good.
Look, I have to talk some more about Hope for Donique. Tell us a little bit more about that before I leave you.
Well, you see, when she was discharged from the hospital, the whole idea was she more than likely, I don't know if they thought about this, but that she was going to go. She was going to die. And when we heard that, we said, no. It ain't that simple. It ain't that simple. Not because some people were talking about she was not a citizen of the United States. She was just a visitor, etc., etc. So let me ask you a question. If a visitor comes to your home, right? The Bible tells you so. For all of you Bible punching people like myself, it tells you that if somebody comes in your house, you give them the best seat, you treat them, right? You treat them well. I think it was on Lot, if my memory serves me right. It was there in those scriptures. And so therefore, if you treat people well, you don't just cast them off and then allow whatever to happen to them. No. You have to say to yourself that there is hope. And that's why the word hope came up. And there must be hope for Donique. Because if there's no hope for Donique, then we are lost. We are lost in ourselves. You know? And so I would like to be, as a believer, a person who believes. And I believe in all. By the way, I don't support one religion over the next, but I do believe that you have to have some degree of moral fiber in you. I believe that you should be the type of person who says, "I'm going to do something and do it." I believe that your word must be your bond, right? I believe that we all need some moral fiber. You can't be right one day and and wrong the next day. You right is right and wrong is wrong. This world is going in too many places that we need to, those of us who know better must do better, right? And do the right thing for Donique. That is why it's important. And it's not about Donique is a banner or an example of how we should live and do with our people in the world. That's what it is. And that's why I'm hoping to see and push this hope for Donique. And let's leave our differences aside. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you. What you have to like is the idea, the idea that this is the right thing to do. And if we treat everyone in mankind, I don't know if racism can end, but this is the type of thing that would end it. If we treat each other as our neighbors, if we treat others well, then our lives would be better. We ourselves would be enriched. I spent sleepless nights thinking about Donique. Okay, I even forgot some of my appointments this week because I was thinking about Donique. But I took the time out today to share with you and earlier Dervin Malcolm about the type of person that she is. And not only that, but she is one of us. And if we cannot fight for the least among us, then what are we? That is what I'm trying to say to you. I am saying to you, reinvent the police force. Reinvent what it means. Get leadership back. Exemplo ducimus. By example, we shall lead. If you can leading and you don't lead by example, who are we? You see what I'm saying? Who are we? And that's the example that Jamaica needs right now. Okay, and so people are shifting it around, trying to hide the information, and what is happening to the. It will not be hidden. It will not be hidden. And I want to tell people that you're telling everything on TikTok, send this on TikTok. Donique, there is hope for Donique Anderson, and it will not be hidden, and will not allow anyone to hide it. Okay, all right, and take and try to shift the blame and so on and so forth, and tell them that it is not possible. Anything is possible, right? If the blind can see, and the dead can be raised from the dead, and the disabled can walk, why can't Donique? That's what I say. And if you want a sermon, there you have it. I'm not a pastor, but you hold on to that one.
Hope for Donique. Hope for Donique.
Hope for Donique. Yes, absolutely.
That's what we want to endorse here for Donique, on Can Youth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. Personally, Dr. White here, yours truly, is touched by the Donique story and want to explore it and reach out to others, asking you to help Donique. That's what we want to do, because there is, as Dr. Francis said, hope for Donique. Dr. Francis, nice talking to you about this campaign and this effort to save a life. Save not only a Jamaican, but a human being, and someone who I realize is committed to her task as a police officer, and she loved the force, and we want to talk to you as well.
Then Dr. Kenneth, before we go, let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. I know you know what it is to serve, like myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. We can serve best if we go on the airwaves, on the YouTubes. I see a lot of things on YouTube and all, and I commend the Jamaicans. They are really all over. I mean, I think it was invented for them. And I think we should go on there and to have some serious topics with our people. Talking about what about our moral fiber? What about the way we grew up? What about what we believe in? What makes us Jamaican? You know what I mean? You love Jamaica? Prove it. All right? Jamaican doesn't mean you have to drive the nicest car or live in the biggest house. Jamaicans mean that I will meet you and say, "Wagwan, brother." I could sit down and have a little juice, no man. I could burn a little spliff on the can. Well, I don't do it because I can't do it. But at the same time, you see what I'm saying to you? You come to my house, no man, and you know, you don't have to nothing to worry about. You don't have to look behind you. You understand what I'm saying? That is the Jamaica I grew up in. Right? That is the Jamaica. Even the man on the street, Robert, we used to call him in Ochers, him used to run on every other child except me. Because when I passed him, I said, "What, Mr. Robert?" And he just look for me. Right? I mean, just walk past him. I don't have no fear. Because even Robert would look after me. You understand me? Because that is how I was. Okay? I policemen. People talk about policemen. Let me tell you something. I grew up with policemen, and I used to walk with my pants under my stuff like them and walk with them because that's as I want to be a police, right? And I'm saying, boy, you know, whatever. And that's how I grew up, man. And that's all I'm asking people to go back there in a sense. Yes. Okay, my brother. So
go back there to basic Jamaican.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Rupert Francis, Dr. Rupert.
Yeah, my friend. Anytime. Wonderful. Look forward to it. Take care. Bye-bye now.
So that was Dr. Rupert Francis. You know, the truth and nothing but the truth. He expressed his concerns and his expectations and his hope for Donique. Hope for Donique. You saw the posters there because that's what we are saying. Can Youth Exploration, your topic in our podcast, is saying support Donique. Yes, we are also saying hope for Donique, and we are going to get this around to help a Jamaican, a human being first, yes, and someone who is having a challenge, a sickness, an illness that she needs your support, your financial support, that she can get a liver transplant. Illnesses, there are things that we don't call on ourselves. If we have the will to do that, we'll not, right? Because we want to be healthy, and therefore illness will come upon us. And when we said that we need support, and it cuts across race, it cuts across ethnicity, rich, poor, you can be ill, you can get sick, and therefore we're asking for the support for Donique, for hope for Donique. Thanks for taking your time out to listen, and those of you listening on your favorite podcast platform, and watch those of you on the YouTube platform. Can Youth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I am Dr. Ken Youth White. Goodbye.